Stephen Colbert had on Campbell Brown. And I don't know if any of you remember Campbell Brown. She used to be an anchor on CNN. She was one of a sort of rotating sort of line of CNN anchors and hosts who I guess occasionally would call out a spokesperson for giving a BS talking point. But she was, she basically, I think she had to make way for Aaron Burnett. And we all sort of wondered what Campbell Brown would end up doing, except we didn't, because probably a lot of us forgot about Campbell Brown, just to be blunt. But what Campbell Brown has ended up doing in her post-television career is becoming a staunch advocate for education privatization and the pseudo-reform agenda that is attacking the vitality and access of public education across this country. And she's on Stephen Colbert to talk about why teacher tenure and why, teachers, as Colbert said, teachers living their opulent, used Honda Civic lifestyles are ruining America's education. And Colbert, in character, as only he can, raises a really important policy point and kind of owns Campbell Brown. Let's listen.
All right. Now, but here's the thing is, aren't you open a can of worms there? Because if you say the kids are entitled to equal education, if that's your argument, doesn't that mean eventually you're going to say every child in the state of New York should have the same amount of money spent on their education? Rich community, poor community, pool it all in, split it all up among Bobby, Susie, and Billy everywhere, because the argument is everyone gets the same opportunity.
You're suggesting that that it's all about the money, and I think
well, you're suggesting it's about equality, and money is one of the equations in equality. Or have I just schooled you?
I really love that clip. I mean, that's the basic point, that part of the neoliberal myth of modern America is that there are all these policy areas that are just so intricately complicated that somehow it's not really the fact that the school is falling down and they're using math books from 1988 and they're feeding kids food that is basically like agribusiness runoff repackaged into sugar gelatin and meat byproduct. And they're sitting under horrible light quality and teachers are overworked and underpaid. No, it's these complicated, intricate things that people like Campbell Brown and other, celebrities and wealthy folks are really interested in, except they're not interested in the part where funding for education would just go into a common pool and all of a sudden some kid in the South Bronx or in Bushwick or in Akron, Ohio would have the same resources as a family from a wealthy district in Cincinnati or as a family from a wealthy town in Westchester. And I'm not saying this to suggest that there aren't intricacies and challenges in policy that go beyond money. But money is pretty goddamn basic. And it's a pretty big problem in American policy discourse that there's a lot of people who have the money and the access to sit around going around studios, TV studios all day in cars, seem to think that the one thing that's pretty vital, that they take absolutely for granted, is the one thing that is not essential to solving an education crisis. And Colbert nailed her on it. He's absolutely right. It's beautiful. It's also really funny.